And speaking of those things, let's do some Watch This Bitches.
Yeah, so have you been watching this on Netflix? How far along are you in American Vandal?
I believe I've watched the first 3 episodes of American Vandal. How far are you?
Well, because it's a downloadable show on Netflix and I can watch it on the train.
You finished.
I finished it. Only watching it on the train also. So it was like the perfect train show. I enjoyed it very much.
Good.
I really liked it a lot.
So for people who don't know, it's a mockumentary, I guess.
Yes. Yep.
Well, it's really like a investigative documentary. Like,
yes.
It's like making of the Murderer, except about a high school where penises got drawn on teachers' cars, and they're trying to
so many dicks.
So many dicks were drawn on the staff cars, and they're trying to figure out who did it. It's super well done. Like, the production value is very high, it seems.
The acting is really great. All the kids in it.
Yeah. The main kid, though, the main suspect, he's so good.
You know, he's 25, by the way.
Yeah. Mrs. Cheapy didn't think he looked like a high school kid, but I thought he
I think he looks enough like a high school kid, too. So
yeah. Mrs. Cheapy didn't like it. She bailed after the first episode. She's like, you're on your own with this one. I don't think the tone was maybe not for her for somehow. It's a little confusing when you watch the first episode because you're not exactly sure what you're watching.
And if you're like me, when you're watching it, you'll actually start to get into it and you'll start feeling like, well, you'll start to wonder, did he really do it? And if not, who did it?
Yeah, no, I'm doing that right now. Yeah, I'm into it. I will. Yeah. I will. If I wasn't playing Destiny, I'd probably have watched more of it.
Yeah, it's totally worth watching the whole thing. I highly recommend American Vandal on Netflix if you have the Netflix.
Another show that we started watching on Netflix. I'm not sure. We might be done already after one episode. I haven't decided yet. Have you heard of Wynonna Earp?
I know that it has a pretty rabid fan base, but I've never watched it.
Do you know what it's about?
Comic book.
Okay, yeah, it's based on a comic book. So it's the story is basically she's a descendant of Wyatt Earp, and there's a curse on the Earp family where all the bad guys that Uncle Wyatt or great Uncle Wyatt killed have come back they become demons basically, and haunts the town where he lived in. And I guess it's up to her. I've only watched one episode, but it's up to her to stop the demons. My only problem with it is that, unlike American Vandal, the production value seems really low. And especially after you come off watching shows where like the action scenes are better than movies like Into the Badlands, where they just really put a lot of effort into like the fight choreography. This doesn't have that. The fight scenes look pretty budget, and I don't know if that changes because the show got really good reviews, and like you say, they have a rabid following. So maybe it gets better. I don't know.
Well, but pilots can be iffy. It's hard to judge a show based on its pilot.
The first step, okay. I'm not. Yeah. It's a joint Canadian-U.S. venture, so maybe the Canadian aspect of
Wyatt Earp, eh?
I don't know. We may watch more. I'm not sure. But
I am the famous American Southern cowboy Wyatt Earp.
A. We also started watching
the bandit. He went into that hoose. Famous American cowboy.
Have you seen the show Humans at all?
No.
That's on Amazon
Is
Prime
it about humans?
It's about a future where people have like robot butlers. They called synths, where that's sort of like a commonplace thing where you could buy like a robot nanny. And that seems really well done. And the acting is really good. As Mrs. Cheapy said to me yesterday, they did the actors who are playing the robots do a good job of making their face look like the uncanny valley, even though they're real people. We've only watched one episode, but so far it's really good. And also that is another well-reviewed show. Mrs. Cheapy was looking at Rotten Tomato scores of TV shows, and that's how we've been finding these shows. But I recommend that one so far based off of one episode. Also, a very quick recommendation for a one-off. There's a show on Vice called Epically Latered about retired or older skateboarders. And they did one about Bam Margera. Remember from Jackass? Remember that guy? Mm-hmm. You know, he was a pro skateboarder. You should really watch this just to see what he's up to now. You would not recognize him if you saw a picture of him. He gained a lot of weight. He's obviously drank way too much and done way too many drugs. He looks like a different guy. But it's about him trying to get, I guess, trying to get his life back together. And I don't know, it was just really interesting. And, you're sort of rooting for him by the end. It's, Epically Latered on Vice. It's pretty cool.